Hello, everybody. Today in this video, I'd like to share my experience during my military service. The one experience which changed my life course dramatic way. And that experience later on, whenever I come across with big problems or very serious my personal issues, especially like financially bankrupt or mentally completely broke down. The time period I was in total collapse of myself, that experience during my military service really became a big motivation to bail me out of that troubled period. In retrospect, that experience helped me a lot to cope with all those serious issues, serious challenge. Actually, the reason I can speak multiple foreign languages now, even at this age of 50, it all the time become my self dignity. All this happened because of that experience I went through during my military service period. At that time, when I was 22, I failed university entrance exam. I joined military service. In Korea, you become certain age range. Within you have to join military service. It's compulsory national service, right? For the every male at that age group. Later, without any other option, I just joined military service. But one thing, in a way, I was lucky was I can still commute the service from my home. And we have that time we have some short-term military service, right, for the certain the area, and then you can choose one A or the other way around. And then my home located in that the coast area in southern part of Korea. So that time I choose the service commuting from home to the army station. And then that time in my depart, I have some plan. Maybe during this service, which was 1.5 year for that short-term service, right, military service. And then I had some plan in my mind to go on my study for the college entrance exam during the service period. And but I cannot reveal that plan to the others. I just kept it to myself only. And then once I joined the service, I was posted into the job of sentry, nighttime sentry. And then that sentry job for the like low rank person like me, you have to be very vigilant all the time. And the air atmosphere of the station is always very strict. I have to night watch, and then during the not the daytime, you have to sleep. You have to sleep and take a rest, and then go back to the station at nighttime. So that time in my depot, I didn't reveal to anybody. I thought maybe I could use the daytime period for my own study. So since the start of my service, I executed my plan, and at night time I worked very diligently for the first several months time period, right? Very diligently without any fails, all the time, very cautious and vigilant. And then daytime, what I did was I went to library nearby my home, and then I studied until the very close time for my job, and went back home just changing clothes to the army uniform, and went to the station, army station, for the night watch. And this way, it lasted several months. And then superficially, by outlook, any change or any negligence, they can detect anything from me, any strange or different mood from myself. No one knows what I was doing. And then one day, the highest rank soldier called up everybody below his rank people. And then our region was consists of like 12 soldiers, from the lowest rank like me to the highest rank soldiers, right? And then we just lined up the army ground, right? The practice ground. And then first, he just simply mentioned that, oh, this is May, June is a very busy season for the farming things, growing crops. And many soldiers from my station, they live on the farming things, growing rice and crops things. So at that time period, it was a very common things to help the parents at home during daytime, right? Even they are soldiers, right? And then they just come back to the station for night watch. And then the higher ranker just asked each soldier one by one. He said, it's a very busy season for farming, and your parents must need your help, your soldiers, don't they? Something like that, right? Very naturally, he was asked, and then he asked one by one, each soldier was like, what do you do in daytime? And the soldier answered like, I help my parents for growing rice and this and that, and one by one. And then all of them answered that way. And then it became my turn, and he asked, what did you do this afternoon? I said, I slept, sir. And he asked again. I answered, I slept. And then he was quite doubtful. What? Let me ask one more time. What did you do this afternoon? before you coming to the station? I said, I just slept. And he said, it's a very busy season, the busiest season for the farming. You didn't help your parents, and then, so sort of very sharp tone, right? And I said, no, I just slept. And we don't do farming. And I just slept. And then actually, no one knows what's the difference. No, but I sensed very small change of his face. And then, like, he one more time just, you bastard, you don't beat me around. Just shoot it out. What did you do this afternoon? I said, I told you so. I just slept this afternoon and just coming to the station. And he was kind of, all of a sudden his face became like helpless. And then he just called up all the other soldiers into the line for the certain military code style of punishment, right? And then everybody except me in another line gave the military codes the punishment. And then I was standing there just looking at them being beaten and practice the military code things, right? And then I couldn't say anything. I just, I felt very sort of sorry because I really feel sorry for them, but I couldn't say anything out. That time, I was the only one who knew why he did that, the scrutiny things for the old soldiers in his region. Because somehow he got heard the rumor the about me. The rumor was like the newcomer. He daytime go to library, study, and just change his clothes and come to nightstand. This kind of rumor. He want to check it out, and then he was very sure that I will reveal that thing very easily. So the first part, he was very naturally coaxing everybody to speak out the what really they did during the daytime, right? Because he knew all the very common vibe at that region, right? And then I just very with very short and clear reply saying I just slept once, twice, third time, exactly same way. Very calm, right? Simple, clear, and so natural. So he couldn't do anything about me. Later, some of the soldiers from my same rank, he was very close actually, my very close hometown friend at that time. And then he secretly, very personally asked me, Jacob, when the world, do you sleep? Do you even sleep? I didn't say anything. I just, kind of very subtle smile in my face. And I simply told him, I took enough sleep. Don't worry, my friend. And I didn't open any further to anybody, right? And I just went on my study secretly during daytime. And it lasted 1 year. And then that 1 year, the end of the 1 year period, I went for the university exam things once more. And then I made it. I made it a university which was very far from my hometown, right? That was my aim that time. 1 year after, once I made it to university entrance exam, and then I still have another half year, right? 6 months time to go on. So during that, the rest of 6 months, I study English very focused way, and later, eventually, the study for the rest of 6 months time focus on English really helped me and changed a lot of things in my life course eventually. And then now, what it really happened during my military service period, right? Through whole 1.5 year time period. Actually, I slept not fully or not very satisfactory way of sleep, but I still had enough sleep to maintain my work, my study. I slept during the work time at night because I was sentry. I just choose to sleep, take a actually not full sleep, just take a nap standing against the wall. And then the thing was, I always made my ear open, closing my eyes, but I kept my ear open. And then during my work, right, anybody approach to me because it's at nighttime. It's absolutely dead silent, very quiet, nothing, no sound at all. And then even from 100 meters away, someone or something approach, stepping on the ground, right? If you have your ear open, you can still catch the sound, and it makes me up automatically. The reason I choose to sleep standing against the wall was because you sit down on the ground or you sit down on your military iron hat when somebody for surveillance, when he approach, you cannot get up because your legs already cramped or your military uniform stained with dirt. If you sit on the ground or you sit on the iron hat, right? The military hat. Either way, you got dirt stain in your military uniform, or you got cramp. Your legs got cramps when you stand up. So I choose to taking a nap, standing, and lean on the wall. And I was all the time make sure I put the head on the ground because when you take a nap, if you are standing, you fall into sleep. Your legs get softened, right? Your leg is sobering sort of things happen. And then if you wear your iron hat on your head, you just bump into the wall. So it makes sounds, right? It resonates to very distant. So I all the time make sure all this kind of routine. And with this way, it lasted like 1.5 years, whole time period. I lived two lives at that time. My personal life for study, and then my official life for the army service. And that time period, I believe I was very focused on my own goal, and it wasn't very easy things to completely overcome the conditions and environment. But I tried very hard to master the environment under my own ownership, in my own style, I believe. I don't I don't want to say whether my behavior at that time during my military service, I did my personal study was good or not. I'm just talking about what I been through, the way I compensate my lost time period to achieve my goal at that time. And that experience later really helped me a lot. I mean, mentality wise, when I have to pass over very troubled time period, right, without any help from outside. That tough experience during my military service period later became great motivation to me, and it really helped my mentality to stay firm and persistent until I passed through all the dark tunnels. That was the experience I went through during my young days, and I still appreciate that experience, still appreciate the chance I had. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.